Today we're going to talk a little bit about academic integrity. So first thing we're going to talk about is what is plagiarism? Plagiarism occurs when a writer duplicates another writer's language or ideas and then calls the work their own. Now this doesn't mean that you're, like in this paper, you're going to be citing things. That's not the same thing. This is if you're actually calling the work your own. There are different kinds of plagiarism, and we're going to go over a few of those. So the first one is mosaic plagiarism. With mosaic plagiarism, you're trying to disguise plagiarism by copying from several different sources, kind of tweaking the sentences, but retaining most of the original phrasing. This is an example, and I'm sure you'll pick up where these phrases came from. 77 years ago, I had a dream that it was necessary for one people to dissolve their political bands and ask not what your country can do for you, but to establish justice and secure the blessings of liberty. Obviously, that's taken from a bunch of different sources. Another type of plagiarism is called ghostwriting. And a ghostwriter is when you turn in another person's work word for word as your own. So it's using a student's previous paper, paying for a paper online, asking your mother to write your paper. The next type of plagiarism is direct copying. Direct copying occurs when you copy significant portions of the text straight from a single source without any alteration. Of course, if you properly format it with a quotation and then cite it, that is okay. The next one is paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is where you take a source and you alter keywords and phrases, but the essential content is retained. So you can read those two examples there. But when you paraphrase, which is always a great thing to do, it's better than doing direct quotes, to paraphrase in your own words, you need to cite that. So at the end of this sentence over here, you would need to have a citation. The last one is misinformation, and that's providing inaccurate information regarding the sources. So if you don't include a reference in the reference list or not including all the pertinent information for the reference so the person can't find it, or making up a reference, that is a type of misinformation. So we're going to talk now a little bit about academic and scientific integrity. So since 1910, there's been 18,000 papers and conference materials that have been retracted. Some are due to honest mistakes, but some of these are due to dishonest practices. 107 papers from one journal were retracted in a single day because they used fake peer reviews. You've probably heard about this one. A paper linking vaccines to autism was retracted, republished, and then retracted again. And this one just came up recently. A paper showing that fish larvae were getting sick eating tiny bits of plastic was published, and environmentalists and the news media were quick to cite the paper, only to have the paper retracted due to fabricated results. Once it's out there and reported by the media, it is very difficult to retrieve the harm that it may have done. And this reminds me of an old folktale about a young man who went about town slandering the town's wise men. One day he went to the wise men's home and asked for forgiveness. The wise men, realizing that this man had not internalized the gravity of his transgressions, told him that he would forgive him on one condition: that he go home, take a feather pillow from his house, cut it up, and scatter the feathers to the wind. After he'd done so, he should then return to the wise men's house. Though puzzled by this strange request, the young man was happy to be let off with so easy a penance. He quickly cut up the pillow, scattered the feathers, and returned to the house. "Am I now forgiven?" he asked. "Just one more thing," the wise man said. "Go now and gather all the feathers." "But that's impossible. The wind has already scattered them." "Precisely," he answered, "and though you may truly wish to correct the evil that you've done, it is impossible to repair the damage done by your words as it is to recover the feathers. Your words are out there in the marketplace, spreading hate even as we speak." So remember when things get fabricated or things in the news that get put out there and are later retracted, sometimes we never hear about the retraction, and that news stays out there for a long time. So I'm going to tell you about a funny story that happened in a medical journal. So this is the parking garage, and you might recognize this.
It's amazing how shopping makes me have to go. How does my bladder know I'm in a department store? Why don't you just go? No, I can't.
Don't you get tired of following rules?
You think I'm too cautious?
Well, why be uncomfortable if you don't have to? It's organic.
Organic. So's Buddy Hackett.
Buddy Hackett.
He's a comedian.
I know.
All right, all right.
Hey, you can go over here.
I can manage.
George! Okay, let's go.
But
Come on. Kramer.
I'm telling you, I've had this condition since I was 11 years old. I've been in and out of hospitals my whole life. I have no control over it. Doctors have told me that when I feel it, the best thing to do is just release it. Otherwise, I could die. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? I'm telling you that if I don't go, I could die. Die! Is it worth dying for?
That's up to you.
Oh, so you don't care if I die?
What I care about is the sanitary condition of the parking facility.
Why would I do it unless I was in mortal danger? I know it's against the law.
I don't know.
Because I could get uromycetitis poisoning and die, that's why. You think I enjoy living like this? The shame, the humiliation. You know, I've been issued a public urination pass by the city because of my condition. Fortunately, my little brother ran out of the house with it this morning. And his friends are probably peeing all over the place.
Okay, so that was the case of uromycetitis. So John McCool, who is not a researcher or a urologist, received an email from the journal Urology and Nephrology, which asked for submissions. He decides to submit an article authored by 3 Seinfeld characters about a case involving uromycetitis. He included fake references as well. An hour after submitting the article, it is accepted and sent out for peer reviews. I guess none of the people watch Seinfeld. Maybe that's the case. This is the abstract. I'm not going to read that to you, but it basically talks about a 37-year-old male who suffers from uromycetitis, and he was prevented from urinating in public. The final paper, the author was asked to make minor changes and to include a lab report, of course, which he made up. He was asked to pay a nominal fee of $7.99 to cover the cost of publications, and a lot of journals out there that are not the best journals are asking for high fees to publish papers. He did not pay yet. Within hours, the full case report was already featured and downloadable. I actually include a link to the full case report in the module, and you can read that if you'd like. So that's just a little bit about academic integrity, and I hope you enjoyed the lecture, and we'll see you next time.